Tony D and Little Joan with Screenwriter's Rant on Woody Woodpecker Goes to Camp. It's part live action, part cartoon, and it's Woody Woodpecker at a summer camp. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 14, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So, this movie, it looks fine. It's a kid's movie, but it suffers from the same problem that making a live action cartoon always suffers. And they got all the characters, so I'm kind of impressed they managed to get all his sort of villain foils in the mix, and one of the other guys. But the problem is, you can see how weird live action cartoon characters look. You know, I mean, the technology is getting better, but it doesn't look real. It still doesn't look real. Why? Because these entities don't exist in the real world. They just don't exist. So, and Woody Woodpecker's takes, part of the great thing about animation was how the animation did it, right? And part of the thing about live action movies is how great some actors' takes are, you know? They go and make a face and, they have some sort of comic timing. You can't really do that with CGI characters. You just kind of can't. April 12th, by the way. And there's a pie fight. With a cartoon, she looks familiar. I forget her name. With a cartoon, you can kind of do cool art things that are done in like comic books and comic strips that you can't do in real life. Like Woody can stretch his face or, stretch his arms or whatever, unexpectedly and evoke a laugh. When you sort of reduce the character to a 3D model, you could still do it, but again, it's not the same. It's not the same of being immersed in the cartoon world. So it's never quite a cartoon, and it's never quite a live action thing. It's something weird that's in between that I think your sensibilities are constantly going back and forth. Well, that was cool. Like, they have a scene with Woody bouncing around a cabin, pecking everything. They have another scene where him pecking an above ground pool, and he zooms around it, and then there's a bunch of holes in the pool. The pool is real. Woody is not. It would look better in a cartoon, right? Because in a cartoon, it would the water would come pouring out and then deflate the entire pool instantly. Way too fast than it would in real life. Instead, you've got the whirring of Woody around the pool and the noise, and then when you see the leaks are real. And a real leak is a lot slower than the cartoon leak. The cartoon leak would have been would have had the orchestra music, and the pool just would deflate to nothing in a second. So you see what I'm saying in terms about the timing? The timing's all off. Everything's all off. Will kids like it? Depends on the age of kid. We're talking about Woody Woodpecker, so, once you get past 11, 12, 13, most kids probably aren't going to be interested in Woody Woodpecker. Probably. They start to... things start to look like, that's for babies. So we're talking about preteen kids who are even probably a little younger than that, and, their bar is pretty low. So it's not going to be a bad movie. It looks wholesome. Doesn't look particularly woke or anything. But, this is the first I'm hearing about this movie. Woody Woodpecker Goes to Camp. I would say it's a good move to set it in the summer camp with kids, because that's the audience, so that's good. But beyond that, I don't really see a big market for this. I think you'd be better off funding more Woody Woodpecker cartoons where you could do things that are a little crazier, assuming you could even do cartoons like they did back in the day. The cartoons they did back in the day were fun for everybody. So many things have been castrated in terms of their production and story and what you can and cannot put in them. I wouldn't put it past Netflix to completely castrate Woody Woodpecker in a cartoon. You would have to do something, pretty crazy, if you're not having sticks of dynamite and shotguns blowing up and cars and things. Why even do it? I mean, he's from that era of cartoon, Looney Tunes. He's not a Looney Tune, but Looney Tunes, they did crazy things. And you just probably won't allow it, Hollywood. So throwing a pie in someone's face, it's just not funny. That was funny like 100 years ago. Literally 100 years ago, yeah, pie fights were pretty edgy. These days, a pie fight? Come on. Come on. I get it, a 6-year-old probably hasn't seen a pie fight and kind of giggles at it, but I think you could do something. I think you could upgrade that somehow. Maybe, I don't know, turn it into a Capri Sun fight. But even that, I don't know. So, is it funny? I mean, I'm 58. I'm not going to watch Woody Woodpecker live action. And I like cartoons. Don't get me wrong, I like cartoons. But the live action and the CGI just kind of doesn't work. He's too realistic. He's rendered too well in a lot of ways. I mean, look at his face. He's got freckles around the eyes and everything. He just looks too real. For a character like Sonic, I think it kind of worked. For this, you would have to expand his character somehow. You'd have to give him, more to do. Woody was always a, kind of a Looney Tunes. I don't know if he's a knockoff, but he was always just nuts. The funny bit was Woody would just go crazy and start pecking everything. And I don't know. I don't know where you could put Woody that he would be, welcomed in that scenario. Maybe you would put him in a situation where he had to be normal. If Woody was, I don't know, in charge of an important event like the Oscars or something and made fun of everybody at the Oscars, that would be kind of cool. It wouldn't be for kids necessarily, but you could kind of, again, these cartoons, they were kind of for everybody. They showed them at the beginning of movies. Originally, I mean, the old school cartoons, at least the Looney Tunes were. I assume Woody is from that era too. So I don't know. It's just not working for me. It's not a bad try though. This guy, and see, in a cartoon, this wouldn't happen. He almost sinks into the background because of the color scheme and the lighting. He's got to pop. All the characters have to pop. Even if it was just a regular person holding that hammer, you'd want him to pop. He's not popping. He's kind of in the background too much. He's sort of blending in with this curtain. So, in a cartoon, just as in a comic book, there are plenty of devices to make him pop. One of which is just to outline him with a line that would, in a comic book, you'd put a dark line all the way around his figure, and it would cause him to pop in the frame. In a cartoon, you might do the same thing, only with a lighter line, maybe, or you would just make the background lighter if he was dark, or vice versa. So, yeah, and some of this is, I guess a lot of this is rendered already. So the sets are sort of half rendered and half not. But yeah, I'm not digging it. But it's not for me. Woody Woodpecker Goes to Camp. I'm sure it'll be fine for kids. You know, typical story of the Woody has to help the kids win against a rival camp while he's being attacked, and the walrus guy is the referee, I guess. So harmless enough, I suppose. And that's it for me, Tony D. Now, should I do a 3-act breakdown? Okay, first act, the kids come to camp, and Woody's a nut. Second act, they have to beat their rivals. They lose every year. The buzzard's after Woody, and there's a bunch of shenanigans. Third act, they win, and the buzzard gets flattened, and I don't know. He's off to prison until the next movie. All right, so that's it. We'll see you in the next one.